already designed a program that will solve that. And I think that the reception that I got, the majority of the people liked the new place. I've gotten a lot of comments on it, and I even had 2 people who signed the petition tell me that they've changed their mind. They think it was a good place. Tricia Stevens, S-T-E-P-H-E-N-S, South End. I just want safety. I want the flow to be better. The church also they have a wheelchair. They brought the wheelchair out to people who were having problems walking. We got people in right away at the head of the line. I feel that for the number of people that we served, it worked very well. So I'm asking that you keep it where it is and at least give it the opportunity to see where it goes from there.
Sharon Everly, I'm also a South Annville resident. I'm registered Republican, but I voted for all of you 3 at one time or the other. I've been a poll worker for 8 or 9 years now, so I see it from a different perspective. And I am 100% sure it wouldn't have worked at the school the last time. There were a few things that could have been changed, but I'll tell you what I did see. I saw the ease with which a number of elderly and disabled people were able to vote. At Zion Church, which I'm also a member of, and I don't want it there for that because I know how much work it is to set up for. And our church does it as a community service and a mission. To going to the church at Fontana was the size of the room that people would vote in. Turn. So what I'm asking you as commissioners, our election board, in voting for this, does the improvement at the other location justify the cost that will be involved in moving it? It was only at our church one time. Is that a fair trial? Also, the traffic coming out of Lauser Road, on any given day that you come there, at rush hour, there is a backup of traffic there. And I think, if I'm correct, there is future planning for a traffic light to be there when the housing developments go in. So if you're looking ahead, I think it's fair to keep it where it is, especially in this time of economic decline when you have to watch your pennies. Can you justify what you'd be getting by moving for the money you'd have to spend for the printing of the notices that would have to go out and the postage?
My name's Herbert Braden. I'm a South Annville Township resident. The request is based on 2 important facts. One is traffic safety. The 55-mile-an-hour speed limit, which terminates at the south entrance to the Zion Church, is unacceptable unless that speed limit is moved down the road by PennDOT a half a mile. You're going to have problems. And an important fact in this whole matter is central location. I live roughly in the lower end of the township, so it is inconvenient, and everybody today is looking to save fuel, and we're going to save fuel.
Where the comment in the paper came from that the pastor reinforced by asking the daycare just this past week, and they have no problem whatsoever with the think that if 1,397 people came through those polls and only 250 some signed a petition, the majority were satisfied, and that's what I'm hearing. I've had
Director of Elections. First of all, I'd like to thank all the folks that came out just to state their opinion, whether I agree with you or whether I don't agree with you. It's always better when we hear from more people as opposed to hearing from less people, so thanks for that. I think you know what my opinion is on this. I have an excellent polling place, and I think that it has, under the largest number of voters in South Annville Township history, I think it has proven itself to be a success. But conservatively speaking, more than 70% of them live a lot closer to the Fontana polling place than they do to Zion EC Church. I'm sure if you went around the neighborhood in the vicinity of Zion EC Church, you'd get a whole lot more folks probably signing the petition that they'd rather have it stay there. Area. It's not in the geographical center of the township. Neither is 30% of the population of South Annville Township, the largest cluster of folks, live up in the mile radius that surrounds Zion EC Church, compared to just 12% in Fontana. It's also closer to those folks that live in the second highest concentration of citizens, Palm City Trailer Park. It's closer to them by a little more than half a mile than it would be if it would be moved back. We've had polling places in schools for quite a while, and in schools they don't have quite the teacher-to-student ratio that they would at a daycare facility like this. So with that accidents of no abductions of all the, I feel it's a fantastic polling place. I think it's going to improve, and I think that's going to be for the benefit of those majority of folks in South Annville Township who just.
A few comments on what Nick just mentioned. He talked about having polling places in schools, and we're talking about a daycare center. Schools, the children are considerably older than you're going to find in a daycare center. And as far as the number of voters, there's been quite a bit said about this huge volume of voters that we had. And I believe Nick will agree that it was virtually the same number as we had 4 years ago in the presidential election.
That's correct.
I never experienced lines. The flow of traffic through that little school worked very well. Agreed, there's not enough of parking. That could happen 2014, 2015, but not very likely before that time. I would suggest that probably by that time this township will have their own new township building, and we'll have plenty of place to vote in a municipal building rather than a church.
I think both sides care passionately about this issue, and I respect everyone for putting all the time and effort into your research, and I always like to do my own independent research as well. And I guess the one part that I'm trying to justify the expense, which isn't in the budget, as was mentioned. If we would move this again, before everyone seems to agree now in hindsight that moving it away from the Fontana Municipal Building with the 17 parking lots was a wise move. I think we've gotten past that hurdle, but now it's a matter of justifying moving it to Fontana again. And house, but is the size adequate of the polling place that we moved to? So I went and looked, and I know that Chet, you provided the Fontana Church is 2,128 square feet. And I looked at the Fontana Municipal Building, that's 1,200 square feet. And the Zion Church on 934 is 1,276 square feet. So with the move, they actually gained 76 square feet. So my question is about the layout inside the room, and I hear there are improvements planned. So I don't think the space inside the room is really the issue. I don't have enough information to justify the move. I mean, the cost and the time and the labor involved in moving it for an election that maybe has much less voters coming to it because it's not a presidential election.
Much better sidelines on 934 than if you have to come off of Fontana Road to go onto 322 to turn left or right. And because you have those walls there, and the houses are very close really to Fontana Road and to 322. And your sideline is really reduced, whereas and I think if you kept the south entrance to the church open, the traffic coming from the south, from the Fontana direction on 934, could simply turn right and go into the parking lot right where they vote. At the same time, the people coming from the north going south, if they chose to, could turn left where they.
Thank you for all the people who came in to talk about this, but it's always better to have a large voice rather than just a few. Cost of changing it back. You ever heard the term haste makes waste? It was done like that quickly last fall, before we had any idea what's going on. It was done. Nick talked to one person. It was done. As the cost of in your budget of moving it back, I'm not concerned with that. You already carelessly spent it the first time. Thank you.
we did wrong when we moved it, and if it would come up to a vote now, I would vote with the supervisors once again. So